You found yourself on another episode of Locked On Bulls. On today's episode, we're going to talk about Julian Phillips getting a 4-year rookie scale deal. We're also going to talk about changes the NBA has coming next season, and Kobe White is actually going to be getting paid more money than what was initially expected. Is it still a good value deal? Me and Pat going to talk about all that and more on today's Locked On Bulls.
You are Locked On Bulls, your daily podcast on the Chicago Bulls, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for tuning in to Locked On Bulls, member of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. That's Pat the Designer, host and creator of the Windy City Breeze and host of the Chicago Bears podcast over at ESPN 1000. I'm Haize, host and creator of Chicago Bulls and Chicago Bears Central. But Pat, let's go ahead and get into it. Julian Phillips, man, AK really does not want to be caught with his pants down yet again on a second round pick. You never heard that phrase before? That's not.
I have. I'm gonna let it.
Let it slide. Yeah, he doesn't want to get caught. We talked about it heavily. Me and you've talked about it a lot on this show. Giving Marko Simonovic a 3-year deal, which ended up not working out. Giving Ayo Dosunmu a 2-year deal. We're seeing how that worked out instead of the 3-year deal. Well, AK gave Julian Phillips a 4-year rookie scale deal, with the 4th year being a team option, which adds a lot of flexibility. If Julian Phillips does end up working out, even turning into a role player, you're going to have him on a team-friendly deal cap-wise for at least 4 years potentially. How you feeling about the deal, Pat?
I mean, listen, it shows a belief, because you also have to take into account the fact that we also got we gave up 2 second-round picks to go get him, right? We don't have our second-round pick for the next 2. We have it next year. We don't have it for the next 2 years after that. Oh, no, we don't have it next year. I don't know. Somewhere in there. We got picks that come back, but we don't have our next 2, basically, 2025, 2026. And then on top of that, you're also missing you're now offering him this. I mean, this is a major contract. I don't know if people really get kind of how this contract all breaks down, but when you kind of look at it, like Bobby Marks took to Twitter to break it down. The next 4 years, 1.6 million, 1.9 million, 2.2 million, team option on 2.4, you're guaranteeing him $5.7 million. He becomes the 12th second round selection out of 13 to sign a 4-year contract all time. He also is guaranteeing that money, and that ranks number 2 among all second round picks ever. This is a serious belief in a guy that you had question marks on the shot, I guess, right? And it seems like the shot, he's confident in the shot. Maybe that is why they believe in this guy so much, because if the 3 ball comes along, you already know the defense is going to be there. Like, there is a ton of we're going all in on keeping Julian Phillips around and being a part of our future. And that's with a guy that is still very, very young. So to me, I look at this as it's twofold, right? I look at this as an incredible amount of belief in a young guy, but I also looked at that with Marko, and he never touched the floor.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Here's how I break it down: is that they do have belief in this potential. They had to give up the assets there. The Chicago Bulls will not have a second round pick now until 2028. That's the next time they will have a second round pick.
Which you see now that you can buy picks.
You can buy second round. Yeah,
my God, like they traded like 18 second round picks for like Gary Payton II.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, you can get another second round pick if you need it. But with that said, like, I still do think, and we talked about, me and you talked about off air, like Julian Phillips ranked as the 13th overall high school prospect the year that he came out, ranked even above a player like Brandon Miller. Doesn't mean that his ceiling's that high, but it just, remember, that's the type of potential that he does have. And if the Bulls really do look at Julian Phillips as this potential still that they have, they should make that investment. Keep in mind, it's still a very small deal. If they need to waive him and cut him, they can without it being too much of a cap hit. So I think the Bulls made the right decision here.
I think the thing is, though, for me, right, it is a cap hit for a second round pick for a guy that you have no idea what he's going to be. I mean, you have no idea what any of these guys are going to be. I'm not against the move. I just didn't expect this level of belief in it. I like Julian Phillips. I like the potential of Julian Phillips, but you don't give this contract if you're not betting on potential. Right? Like you have belief that this guy is going to be a solid, at a minimum, early on in his career, rotational piece. I mean, let me ask you this. Is this we believe in this guy, but also we need to put a fire under another guy who is still in our system in a Patrick Williams who, if Julian Phillips clicks, and if he clicks quickly, he does kind of what we want P. Will to do, at least on this iteration of the team. You could see P. Will moved out of his spot. And that's far-fetched. I mean, it's all about if he clicks, but like, is this maybe like, hey, listen, we got a lot of fire under you, and this kid can do it?
I don't know. Like, because with Billy Donovan and rookies, I always hesitate to say any type of rookie is going to light a fire under anybody. With Billy Donovan and
didn't we say this with Dalen last year too?
Yeah, that's the thing. I understand. I think more so if we're talking about lighting the fire under Patrick Williams, Torrey Craig will probably do that more than what a Julian Phillips signing will do. Not to say that
this 37-year-old.
Yeah,
over you.
Yeah, listen. We need shooting, we need toughness, and we need defense. We're going with 37-year-old, bro. Sit your 21-year-old butt down. So yeah, I mean, I'm not going to say that he can't put pressure on Patrick Williams because that potential is absolutely there. Because Patrick hasn't shown a lot, so it's always going to be a potential to light a fire under Patrick Williams. But here's what I'll say is that if Julian Phillips does come in and he earns a role, much a la Ayo Dosunmu, then yes, it should light a fire under Patrick Williams because that means that guy's coming in, and guess who he's trying to take minutes from? It's you, player. That's where he's trying to take the minutes from.
Why was that player like, oh boy, from WWE?
That's how I meant to say it. That's player.
Hold on a second, player.
Let me talk to you.
I agree. I think that, I don't know, man. This is maybe we're underselling this. Maybe like just because we also kind of believe in what Julian Phillips can be, and we've seen some of his potential. But I mean, this is a big deal. This is a major deal. This is not something you give second round picks. That means to me, right? Like, if you're giving him this deal and you just went through the Marco fiasco, it has to mean that you're probably playing this guy more than you played Dalen last year. It has to mean that you're going to give him more opportunity than you gave P. Will Regia. It has to. Otherwise, why are we doing this?
Well,
just
bro,
to say, we got him.
No, I mean, you're getting him to lock him into develop him and have that investment, but let's not act like they attached $4 or $5 million. Like, he's making about the same that Marko Simonovic made. Like, it's not like he's coming in making a huge amount as a second round pick. Like, anything under $2 million at the NBA level is very minuscule. So I don't want to act like they're making this huge monetary investment. And yes, they're making a bunch of years as far as invested into him. But I mean, for a 19-year-old, that's not a bad thing.
5.7 is a lot for most second round picks. We just happen to have another one that's also getting.
Well, no, it's 5.7, but it's 5.7 guaranteed over 3 years.
Over 3.
That's not that different. From Marko Simonovic was making 1.8. That averages out, if I'm not mistaken, to about the same.
No, I get you. But what I'm saying is we just also happen to have another dude that we also gave that contract to. Most teams aren't doing this. Most teams ain't looking at they second round picks and being like, hey, we're going to guarantee that you're going to be around here for a while before they even play an NBA game. I mean, usually it's like, I'm going to give you the 2. And if you prove to me up to the
Liddell just got never playing an NBA game and being the second round pick who tore his ACL his rookie year. So
hey, listen. Never let it be said that me and you have ever believed that half the contracts the Pelicans have given out have been the right ones.
Hey, that's it.
Hey, listen, Zion Williams.
Herb Jones earned that contract.
Herb Jones, I give Herb Jones, but Zion Williamson was still at the buffet when he signed his contract.
He signed it with the grease left on his finger from eating at the buffet. But you know what? And we bring him up. Herb Jones is actually a good comp for Julian Phillips as far as how he can make an impact right away.
Herb Jones is a little taller though, ain't he?
Probably has a longer wingspan too. But I mean, as far as like getting in the game defense, like Herb Jones doesn't have a lot of offense. But
he got a lot of dunks. That's about it.
Yeah, Herb Jones is actually smaller, 6'7". So,
yeah,
not a bad comp.
I'm not a bad comp. That's not a bad comp. I can live with that. I think here's the thing. For me, it just speaks to me that, and maybe with Io probably not coming back, it kind of feels like with certain things that are happening now, it kind of feels like Io DeSumo's not coming back. If Io's probably not coming back, maybe that does open up the door for a guy like Julian Phillips to get more tick, to get more opportunity. Even with Dalen playing, because of it also seems like Javonte Green's not coming back. DJJ's not back.
Oh, one of them, I'm telling you right now, one of Io, DJJ, or Javonte, one of them's coming back. At the
think so?
Because because keep in mind, for us to have right now, we have 3 two-way contracts out there. For us to get the 3 two-way contracts, we have to have a full 15-man roster. If you only roll with 14, you only get 2 two-way contracts. So best believe somebody's getting a vet minimum deal and coming back. It's going to happen.
Here's what I think. I think everybody's waiting for Dame to fall so they know if they're going to Miami or not.
Yeah, that's
because DJJ is probably like, hey Jimmy, I come back down there, bro. I got defense and I got this 3-ball. That's it. I got defense and I got my wrist. And I got my wrist.
Did you see I played some center over in Chicago?
Did you see me play some center?
Did you see I played some center? Can I put that on my resume?
I like Cat Up. He couldn't stop me.
Bro, you could like Cat Up.
I'm trying to. I kind of feel the same way about Javonte and Io. Like I feel like all 3 of them are just gonna be like, we can go down to Miami. I'm gonna get the vet man anyway. I might as well do it.
That's crazy. What if Derrick Jones Jr. and Javonte do go to Miami and get a title down?
That's an angry team,
bro.
That's just an angry team.
That's a tough team. Anyway, next up we're going to be talking about the rule changes.
Only person that can shoot is Dame still. You made all these additions and your only shooter is Dame.
They still got Tyler. Oh well, if they trade for Dame, Tyler Hero's gone.
Him.
Yeah, that's wild. But next up, man, we're going to be talking about the rule changes coming to the NBA. Before we do that, I got to talk to you guys about one of our sponsors, and that is BetterHelp. This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. Sometimes in life, we're faced with tough choices, and the path forward isn't always clear. You guys know I'm a very big advocate of mental health, especially after I lost, unfortunately, my little brother. And I won't lie to you guys. If it wasn't for seeking therapy, I probably wouldn't be here right now. So if you need some help, make sure you guys go and reach out to BetterHelp. If you're thinking about starting therapy, BetterHelp is the best place to try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. Let therapy be your map with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/LockedOnNBA today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/LockedOnNBA. All right, Patrick.
Hate when you do that.
I know that's the only reason I do it.
Running Cordero.
Oh God. With that said, I got the suit jacket's still over there hanging up, by the way. I can throw it on right quick. With that said, Pat, man, we got some rule changes coming to the NBA. One of which I think me and you are both extremely high on is now if a coach wins his first challenge, he gets a second challenge to use. And I think that was one of the dumbest rules, is that if I have to challenge something early in the game and I win that challenge, now I'm penalized and I can't challenge something later. I love that they get that second challenge to kind of do a little bit more due diligence with. How you feeling about that rule change, Pat?
I love it because how many times do we see where you got to use your challenge just to fix a ref being an idiot?
Yeah.
We saw that so much last season. So to me, I am a lot more excited by the opportunity for, okay, we have a challenge. If I know that I can win it, I'm going to utilize it early. I can use this in the first half. This could be a big call that changes something. And then we go into the second half a little bit different. I think this is a phenomenal rule, especially for a head coach like Billy Donovan, who basically is very reluctant to use his challenges because the challenge became, if I use it before the last 2 minutes, it will bite me in the butt.
Yeah.
That's really what it was. Like, who was it? It was not Stan. Who one of the coaches last year mid-tier coach. You know what I mean? But we played against them. And it was Doc Rivers.
Everything you said is still accurate.
It is. It applies so well.
You gotta change none of it.
Doc Rivers used the challenge in like the second quarter and lost. That was just his idiotic way. Like, we looked at the play and we're like, of course you're going to lose. That makes no sense. Yeah. But in so many senses, I'm scared to use this challenge early because I'm not going to have an opportunity to use this if there's a play that happens in the last 2 minutes. I think that having this where you get the second challenge, now don't go past this. Don't go crazy. I'm not saying you just keep being able to challenge stuff the entire game, but this to me takes a little bit of power out of the refs' hands. How many times, even right early in the third quarter last season versus Cleveland, where the Bulls got a couple of calls that didn't go their way, Billy doesn't use the challenge. We're like, you kind of got to use the challenge because of how much of how much momentum Cleveland had at that point.
Yeah.
But you also got to be like, but what if this thing gets close again and we're in the fourth quarter and now I can't use it? So I love this. I think this is a great rule change.
Yeah, facts. I agree with that wholeheartedly. Now, the next rule change that we have up is about flopping, and so we're gonna call this LeBron James. No, let me stop. Let me start with that one.
So his last season, just text everywhere.
Yeah. So now with flopping, it can result in a technical foul and free throw for the opposing team. But I like this other wrinkle that they added in it. You can actually assess a foul and the technical free throw at the same time. So if you flop and they rule it a personal foul, you can have that benefit. And so that it doesn't slow down the game, they also said that it could be assessed at the next stoppage of play. So that way they don't have to completely stop the momentum of the game, things like that. How you feeling about that rule change, Pat?
They're trying to change the entire NBA right now. They're trying to change the percent. I'm telling y'all, people didn't believe me when USA went over there and got their butts kicked for literally not being tough enough. And they ended up winning, right? They ended up going through. It's still Kevin Durant. It's still LeBron, best players in the world, all of that, right? But when they were just getting pushed around, that irritated Adam Silver to see his league look weak. Mm-hmm. He wants to get flopping out of the game. He wants to get toughness back into the game. That's why you saw the foul calls the way that we've seen them the last playoff and, of course, last season more so. That's why we're seeing a lot less of these guys who are able to take advantage of the free throw calls by doing the little up fake thing that they always do. That's got to sound crazy in podcast form.
I'm going to let it slide, my boy. I'm going to let it go. I'm trying to be better.
That's got to sound crazy on the pod side. But yeah, I think that we need more rules that are taking away how guys can cheat the game. It's one thing like because the one thing I always hear is like, well, Kobe learned how to cheat the game. Kobe learned where referees had to be on the court. That's called being smarter than the system. Mm-hmm. When your system's broken and people can take advantage of it, that's when I have an issue with it. And I think the NBA system got to a point where it was broken. I like that they're fixing this, especially with the fact that, like, not only will this be a tech, but you might also just get a regular foul on top of that. Now you're doubling it up. I mean, that could be 3 free throws possibly.
Yeah, I mean, it's the right thing to do. I mean, flopping has gotten completely out of hand here recently. We you see it on Shaq and the Fool so much, right? Players flopping when they weren't even really touched. So yeah. You want to get that out the game as best you can. As Tony Brothers, what is Tony doing?
He's here for the tech.
He's here for the tech.
It was technical foul conversation, and Tony Brothers showed up. You get out of here, Tony Brothers.
But yeah, it makes sense. You gotta protect the integrity of the game as best as you can. This is one of those moves. That's how I view it. So we'll see, man. I love that. Like I said, I love that it's not a stoppage in play. I like that a coach can't challenge a flopping call because they can't challenge intent, but refs can review it at the stoppage of play and then, make that call. So I think those are all things that are better for the game overall basketball.
Now, here's the real question that I'll ask you. How many will do it?
Depends on
we've seen a lot of
doing it. That's what we know. It depends on the player that's doing it.
I mean, we've seen a lot of these where it's like, hey, that's not true. That's not what I did. I disagree with your call. And the refs will look at you and be like, I made the call. I'm not reviewing it. That's the only part where I might have a little bit of a concern with it is the fact that it puts it in the ref's hands to make the decision to go against his own call.
I can understand that. I can understand where you're coming from with that. I mean, I guess ultimately we just got to see, brother. It's going to be a lot of eyes on it. I worry that it's going to be one of those things too that initially we see a lot of them called as the rule changes at the beginning of the season, and then it kind of just dies off again.
That's usually how it goes,
about.
right? Remember, we only see it in the most inopportune times, right? Like when there's a leg kick in the Eastern Conference Finals that I think is a foul one way, and everybody else is seeing it another. But you know, I mean,
No, you
it
said
is what
you
it
didn't
is.
think it was a foul.
I don't. I still don't.
Okay.
I still don't. I still don't. Did I say that backwards? Whatever. Y'all knew where I was going. Yeah, I still don't. It's natural shooting motion. Hey, let's keep this thing going, man. We got to tell you guys about Birddogs, man. Birddogs out here getting busy. I love rocking Birddogs. I'm wearing them right now. Technically, it tells me to stand up and show y'all my Birddogs, but I have a wife, and she probably would not like that because me and Haize both made the mistake of ordering these things in a size too small. You got to make sure that you know the right size.
I mean, the size is right. They're just a little
perfect,
short.
Actually,
It's
a little short for dudes that grew up wearing the Chris Paul shorts from the Yadid. Don't worry about it. But hey, Birddogs. I mean, the one thing I do love about them, they make you look good. They are a stretch khaki material. I wear these mugs to everything. If I'm going to the gym, if I'm going to the pool, I actually did wear these out in Vegas when we hit the pool a little bit. I mean, they fit better than regular shorts to me, and they're not restrictive at all. And I mean, listen, at the end of the day, Birddog is using the anti-stick sweat wicking fabric that keeps you cool and dry all day long. Here's what I'll tell you, fellas. If you got that thigh burn for my construction workers out there, right? If you got that thigh burn right in the middle, you know what I'm talking about? Where there's a little swass build up and there's some, I mean, you know what I'm talking about. These are the shorts for you. Go to birddogs.com/LockedOnNBA. Enter the promo code LockedOnNBA for a free Yeti style tumbler. That's birddogs.com/LockedOnNBA or promo code LockedOnNBA for a free Yeti style tumbler. You won't want to take your Birddogs off. We promise. I cannot stand up and show them to you, though. As Bernie Mac once said, I'm blessed.
We want to remind you guys that Locked On Bulls is free and available on every podcasting app and platform of your choice. We're also available on YouTube and the Odyssey app. Now, Pat, let's go ahead and get into this last topic for the day, my brother. Hey, Kobe White's contract came in. We have the details. It was initially reported as a $33 million deal over 3 years with $7 million of incentives. Well, it looks like it's a little bit different than that. It's actually a $36 million deal with $36 million being guaranteed, $3 million still of incentives that could push it up to a $39 million deal. Does this change your perspective view at all on the value of this contract?
No, because it's still stupid cheap.
Yeah.
Like
still below the mid-level exception.
It doesn't change my thought process on what Kobe White needs to do. It doesn't change my thought process on the player that we hope develops out of it. It doesn't change my thought process on what we've seen from Kobe White to this point. At the end of the day, listen, when I look at this contract and I look at Kobe White's game, I say this is a contract where they're paying you to live up to it. It's not a crazy contract, but you really haven't lived up to the peak of what this contract could be. And that's why they're going to add the incentives in. And I hope that he does, because, you know, at the end of the day, that means that he's playing well for us. But I still think that we just need to see another year of development, another step in the right direction for Kobe White. And I mean, realistically, maybe more people are probably going to have a problem with the fact that a guy like Kobe got this instead of going with a guy like Io, who maybe showed you more his rookie year than Kobe has shown you to this point outside of a few months at a time.
I mean, I don't know. Like, Kobe's improved almost every year that he's been here in one way or another. We need to see that shot be a little bit more consistent. But I think what you're seeing is that in the modern NBA, same thing happened with Alex Caruso in LA. I think that teams are looking at it as, we feel like we can replace a defender more than we can feel like we can replace somebody who has some scoring upside.
Yeah.
So I think that's what it comes down to for those that are going to compare it naturally to what Io's going through. I think that's just where we are in the NBA right now. Teams view it as we can replace a tough, scrappy defender. Heck, look at the Boston. Marcus Smart is the Boston Celtics identity. They traded him away for Kristaps Porzingis. It's just, it kind of.
Oh yeah, he was a part of that, wasn't it? Because everybody, it was all the swaps.
Yeah, all the swaps in that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it kind of is what it is there.
I mean, this is the tough part. Julian Phillips might be able to replace him. We talked about him being able to guard 1 through 5. If he can handle, and he can throw the ball to open people.
And if he can shoot.
If he can shoot. And that's my issue, right? Like, I know the numbers would tell you that Ayo Dosunmu could shoot. Can't. I don't know how to tell y'all this. I don't know how to explain it. Oh, but he shot 50% from the field. Yes, you're looking at the numbers. Guess what? If I miss 4 shots in that game and over the next 2 games, I make 2 and I make 2, that averages out to 50%. Like, that's how averages work. But you know how many games ended with Ayo with a fat 0 from made 3-pointers? Too many.
That's the same exact number of games that Kai Soto has played for the Orlando Magic's G League team.
The random Kai Soto shot. Foul.
Three DNPs in a row in Summer League, and they think that this guy is as good as Wemby. Get out of here with that.
Hey, listen, I'm just saying he played less than Zion Williamson played whatever her name is. I don't even know that trial.
Mariah Mills.
Mariah
Mills.
You see there we go.
Her new video, by the way, where the tattoo is magically gone. The tattoo she got on the side of her face.
She got it with the invisible ink.
The cap is real,
or
bro.
the fading ink and all of that.
The cap is real. Hey
man, listen, she got her stock up, man. How much money you think she made off of that?
A lot, bro.
Yeah, I mean, like, come on, bro. Muzz was definitely downloading the video. She looked crazy, bro.
And not in a good way. Crazy, we don't mean that positively at all.
No, I mean that as negative as I can mean it. Like, she looked crazy.
All
bro.
right, it's time to go, y'all. Pat is gone rogue. It's time to go.
I'm going rogue. Meanwhile, you insulting Kai Soto out here. He had nothing to do with this podcast.
Kai Soto's game insulted Kai Soto. That's all I can say on that one, bro.
Yeah, y'all have to excuse Haize. We pissed off a whole country one year. Now it's been smoked the
it's
entire
beef.
time.
It's beef forever, bro. Like, it just is what it is.
Bro, we gotta really watch our backs if we ever go down to the Philippines.
Hey, bro, Lockdown's gonna be like, we're gonna send y'all down to the Philippines to cover an NBA game, bro. We're not coming back. It's just over with.
You're not sending me. You're not getting me. They got beef with the whole network because as soon as we dropped our video, everybody was like, "Hey, these videos eating out here," and everybody had one, bro. The whole network. There was an NFL podcast that dissed Kai Soto. It was like, I wouldn't let Kai Soto kick for the 49ers. It's like, wait a minute, hold on now, dog.
Locked On Blackhawk said that he could never be a goalie.
I'm just saying, bro. Doggone Locked On Bears said that man could never bear down. All right, let's get out of here.
All right, now it's time to go, brother.
At Locked On Bulls, you can follow me on everything at Pat the Designer. Loved all the Locked On family out there, man. Keep your heads low. It's shots out there.
Oh, man, listen. Thank you for tuning in and making Locked On Bulls your first listen every day. Now, for your second listen, make sure you guys go and check out Locked On NBA, where our very own Pat the Designer is going to be over there today as well. Make sure y'all check him out over there. But hey, for Pat the Designer, I'm Haize. This has been Locked On Bulls, and never send us to the Philippines. We out, y'all. Peace.
The tough part is I love the Philippines and Filipino food. Like,
you better keep eating it in Chicago.
Clearly, you got.